Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Gift the Gab. Today, for lack of a better term, we're gonna get real with you all. Just some things that happen in life, and just things that have been going on in 2020. Death is something we really had to take a head to. We really had to see it. It's really unavoidable, just with the virus in of itself. We've known people who are close to us who possibly have passed from it. People just in media who you might know have passed from it. But death is something that's been real in 2020. We sometimes feel like as black people, we sometimes get that look of us or that feeling of us that we truly don't feel it, or that the death doesn't affect us the same because we're thinking that our families are thugs and stuff, so they don't hit us the same. But just being real, people might perceive us, but it is something that we do feel, something that we do see. So we'll take time to talk about it.
All right, so in case you forgot, I am Jarvis. My name hasn't changed.
Oh, my bad. My name's Daniels. Jumped into it real quick.
But yeah, so overarching, we want to talk about seasonal emotions. And before I go further, I want to just dedicate this episode to Ricardo Knox, who was a very, very special person and friend to me. Someone who senselessly lost their life this week. And just want to acknowledge how that, not necessarily the event of his death, but how those events contribute to seasonal emotions. I don't even want to call it depression, but seasonal emotions. So that's definitely want to take you today. So how you doing?
I'm doing good. I mean, I definitely feel what you're saying with the seasonal emotions. Even just with um, particular this year, I would say. I mean, think about it. Usually during this time, you getting ready for Thanksgiving with your fam. You getting ready for Christmas, with your family. And it's not the same. Like, even in my own family, I found out two of my relatives have had COVID. And, with me, recently, we told the world, um, with the wife having a baby on the way, it just kind of made me realize, man, I don't want to even be around my family like I normally am because of that. And it's kind of sad. I'm used to, having Thanksgiving and, having the food around family. We talking shit about whatever game is on. I'm probably gambling against my cousin, trying to see, picking the Cowboys one time I like to win a game. You know what I'm saying? The spades table getting going. I done heard one of my cousins, getting cussed out because they done cut their partner, or they done reneged. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just that feeling that you normally have in the holidays that just it's not there. And it has been kind of hard having to wrap your mind around. Like, I can't enjoy my normal things. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And the honest truth is that some of us really take that for granted, and we see that as, I want us to understand how privileged we are. If you do have that, it's a norm for you to be around your family, and you can associate the holidays with something that is positive, and you do look forward to the holidays because that's a time that you get to spend and cherish with your family. But for a lot of people, that just isn't their reality. I don't want to lie to you. I'm not looking for y'all to send me flowers, but if you are, I'll give you my address.
It'll be in the description below.
But no, like when I think about the seasons and years in, and October 30th to January 2nd, it isn't always something that's easy for me to associate with those positive feelings. Like for whatever reason, some of the most traumatic losses and some of the hardest times I've been through in my own personal life have been in that dead, and what we can call the dead period between October and January, which is, and it's crazy that I can actually use that because this is supposed to be the time of celebration. It's supposed to be the time, that you recap on my year and be like, yeah, man, I did that shit, and this was a good year, and this, that, and the third. But for a lot of people, I'm sure I'm not in this alone. That's simply not the case. Like, I'm ready for this shit to be over. All the way over. So
can't wait for 2021.
I can't wait for 2021, and this episode is to acknowledge that, if you're in a bad place and you don't want to feel worse than what you are, then it's okay to hit next on this one. This might not be for you, but this is if you're in a place where you just want to say, like, someone acknowledges how I feel, someone experiences how I feel, then you're here. Like, we're holding hands, we're hugging each other right now. because this is a time I think that especially for that 21 to 40-year-old crowd, like we have to stop and like identify some of this stuff so that we can move forward. The truth is in acknowledging your emotions and acknowledging where you are. That's where the healing begins. So we just want to lay it all out on the table.
I mean,
and when we say that, so like, how are you and your family dealing with Thanksgiving this year?
Man, honestly, so reached out to my mom. Usually my mom's the one that I reach out to get the information about the holidays. Reached out to her. She's like, well, I don't think Thanksgiving's gonna happen this year. And I just had to kind of realize, like, oh yeah, I do have two relatives who had COVID. It's not like I forgot. It just was like, damn, this shit ain't gonna be the same. Like it just like, well, I mean, you kind of. It was really a thing, and I realized holidays really ain't cheery. Like I got one cousin she's still in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the things where you can't be cheery, and the fact that I appreciate you saying, the fact that you have to acknowledge it, I had to kind of look it in the face, like, okay, here's where we're at, here's where we're gonna be. How can I adjust my mindset to make the best out of the worst? And that's very much easier said than done. Because I mean, there's some people who holidays ain't gonna be the same this year, man. Like you, just like to talk about your friend. Unfortunately, holidays his family ain't gonna be the same.
It's never gonna be the same.
Never. I mean, I think last time I heard, I think it was 250,000 people. Unfortunately, 257,000 people passed from COVID. That's 257,000 families. That isn't gonna be the same. That's not even counting the number of people that are in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't even go see. I work. You can't even go see your family in the hospital. Like, they ain't there. You can't go see them. There's not a lot of people go see COVID patients, and it's just one of the things where, and I even see. I don't know the stats and numbers on it, but I really am hoping that people are looking and seeking help, because man, I can see some people when they're in, and I can understand people. Some people don't need to be in dark places.
So how do you feel about the CDC recommendation, like even with college kids, don't go home? And if you do go home, don't go back to school. Or don't have in-person gatherings, there are no communal food practices, like bring your own tray and Zoom still work, Google Meet work. Like they're telling you, like literally do not celebrate with your family. Like how does that make you feel?
I mean, honestly, for me, it's on the real, man, bro. It's the ugly truth. Like I can on one side say, man, why the CDC's telling people to do that? Let the people go on with their families. But in the same flip side of that coin is, shit, they making sure you can see your family next year. You know what I'm saying? Like, just real talk. Like, is it a thing that I wish that people could go home? Yes, but in the reality of it is, if you want to see your people in the future, if you want your people to have a future, if you want people to no longer be sick, if we want this pandemic to go away, there's are steps that we have to take. So do I like it? No. Is it on the real level depressing as hell? Yes. But we have to think to the future of, okay, we make these choices now, then things in the future will be better. Because the truth of it is, if we had made some of these choices earlier, this pandemic wouldn't be as bad. So, I mean, like I said, it's depressing, and I'm not going to sit here and like it's not depressing. But at the same time, too, I mean, we have to make the decisions for our families. We have to make the decisions for not only our families, for, your homie next to you, for their family. Because what if you don't get sick, but you bring home some of your homie?
Right.
And then because he went to his family, now his family's sick.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. So it's the ugly truth.
Right.
I mean, we got to do these things.
But like the old verbiage that laughter is the soul of medicine, and you usually associate that laughter, that feeling of wholeness and joy that you're around your family. When you're around your family, now you're, for practical reasons of trying to preserve life and making sure nobody dies because you're not being selfish. They're almost telling you that dose of medicine that we need to carry into 2001 like you can't get that, not that live version of that anyways. So when we think about those seasonal emotions, there literally is no, you're kind of by yourself, you know, in a sense that, you know, you can do a virtual Thanksgiving, but you just really eating in front of folks.
I mean, but
like it's the conversation. You can't observe the drunk uncle in the corner. You feel me, like, or you know, you can't. You're messing auntie who to sit and talk about people. Like, ain't no her talking her shit this year. You know, it's sending you on cigarette runs where everybody, all your cousins go because y'all trying to smoke a blunt in the car. Like, none of that shit happens. None of that happens this year. You feel me? And those are routines and rituals. And I just can't even say just in the black community, but in all community where there's a function and flow of how we do these holidays, that you're going completely without this year.
Because traditions, period. And it's one of the things where I have this. In my thing to that is the truth of the matter is, if we take these, it's the thing of it. It's sad, but you have to somehow. Let's be real. The great thing about the holidays during this time of the year is it's already gray as fuck outside. It gets dark before 7 p.m. So the weather's already shitty. So these holidays, let's be real, but these holidays and these moments that you're speaking of make this time of the year better.
Yeah.
And I hear what you're saying with these rules, it's taken away. But let's look at this. And I'm like I said, it's easier said than done. I've had to do this myself. You sometimes look at these things of, okay, if I want to hear my Aunt Susie talk shit, I need to make this move now so I can hear Aunt Susie. Maybe not for this Christmas, or Thanksgiving, but for next Thanksgiving or Christmas. Or, hell, next Memorial Day. Maybe shit gets better by May.
Opportunity.
You know, the next opportunity, period. But you gotta take those steps.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you gotta take the tell. There's no other way to say it is you gotta find joy in what we do have. And true, can you not see it in person? No. But you gotta find joy and at least we have Zoom.
You know, you were literally telling people to completely like adapt a whole new way of how we celebrate each other.
I realize that, but it's either that or the problem that we do have existing doesn't go away.
Yeah, that's real.
I mean, shit, shit. Just like I said about my holidays, I had to kind of look in the face. Like, literally, bruh, I have a pregnant wife that none of my family, outside of my mom and dad. Now, my dad ain't seen Lauren since she's got big for pregnancy. So yeah, I don't think. So I have family that have not seen my pregnant wife. None of my family has seen Lauren pregnant. Like that, and that's an ugly truth. But I have to take these steps because I got to protect. Well, I have to protect my son. That's not here yet.
But how does it make you like? That's really. I imagine because that's not my situation. That has to feel terrible, right?
I mean, it's shitty. Like, you know what I'm saying? Lauren, mom ain't even got to see her pregnant yet. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's pictures, but pictures ain't the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel you. I get it, but it's just like I gotta make sure my son get here all right, and I gotta make that decision.
Oh, that sucks.
And that decision I've had to make.
I mean, even when we swing it to when we talk about like the worst part of 21, when we talk about the death.
You know what? I'm titling this episode "Can We Vent?" the title of this episode is "Can We Vent?"
Yeah, but
like I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's like, bro, it's real. And honestly, bro, that's the first time I've said that. That's the first time I had out loud said my own family has not seen my wife pregnant. That is the first time I have said.
Is it the first time? I know you probably have subconsciously thought about it. Is it the first time you really put that real time and effort into thinking about that?
Honestly, because sometimes I try to avoid it because it's. I mean, it'd be really fucking depressing. I can't sugarcoat it. I can sell people a dream like it's gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? I made the decision for my future child, but it's sad.
I'm gonna be honest with you. On this episode, I really feel like we don't have an aim. We just sit here calling it what it is.
But it's real.
Sucks.
It sucks. But the thing is, though, in real life, and this is a philosophy my mom gave to me. She was just like, if you don't realize the situation is shitty, you can never see you can never make the situation better.
Right. And that's how identifying.
Yeah.
That's how identifying the people. That's when you sit and you have the time to think and be like.
But don't you feel like a lot of times, I almost said as niggas, excuse me, as black people, we like, especially black men, I feel a lot of times, it's almost like the world sees us as we don't feel things. Like I feel like a lot of times because you see, it's just to be my personal perception, but I feel like a lot of times because black people, we always spinning shit to make it fun or funny. Or just we always are spinning a situation. People think we don't go through shit, but we go through shit. It's just like for us. I feel like we just try to make a shitty situation better. Like black folks. Black folks in America, we been down. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like I have to. It's actually just how I was raised. My mom was always like, a situation's gonna be shitty. Meet that shitty situation. And then you have to figure out a way to make it better. Because you can't clean up shit sometimes.
You can't.
Like, you can't.
And even if you clean it up, it still smells like shit. It still
gonna smell like shit. But you know what you can do? You can throw shit in the trash. You can clean up that area the best way you can with some Clorox. And you can move the fuck on. And be like, did the best I could. Right? And there's sometimes where I feel like, just about 20. It's funny, we talked about saying we were going to do an episode about 2020 and how it's been. It's basically what the fucking episode is now. But it's literally like, that's why I feel like with 2020, everything that's going on, we've had to train ourselves to do.
Ooh, so if we're going to take it to 2020, like, again, I wanted to talk about the death list. For this year started off, it started off with a high note on the death. Yeah. And I know people may be like, well, you don't know him. He don't know you. And y'all ain't never exchanged greetings and all that. When Kobe died, like, it was an awakening to me, right? Because that was a time where I did not understand who, and I don't know Kobe. But, as I look at a public figure, it was a time where I felt like Kobe was the quintessential man and who I wanted to be as a person, who did what he wanted to do, the way that he wanted to do it. And at the end of the day, you can judge his approach, but you can't judge his character because you knew what his heart was on 99% of the things. He didn't get tangled with all the bullshit. He was about his people. He was about his art. He was about all these, like, he was about self-preservation. He was about all this stuff. And, even when I sit and I tell you about this, I think about the story when Kobe was 8 and when they asked Kobe, when was the first time you scored 40 points? And he was like, I was 8. And then he was like, because I figured out that nobody could dribble with their left hand. So I played everybody making me go left, and I stole the ball, and I had like 30-something like that. Something nice. That's real, though. But, those examples of people who like that, we watched a lot of them pass away. And on another end, we watched other people pass away that, even though they wasn't that Kobe type, they didn't deserve to die. Just in the past couple of weeks, Mo 3, King Von. It seems like every other week someone famous or someone that have a direct impact to the culture that I know best, they are passing away. You feel me? Like, it seems like death is at every corner. I dedicated this episode to Ricardo. Ricardo was a 4th grade math teacher. You feel me? Like, Ricardo was from the west side of Atlanta. Ricardo was somebody who grew up with humble beginnings. Ricardo was somebody who worked very, very hard to display the fruits of his labor. He bought an Audi truck, and he was ultimately killed over something involving the Audi truck. Because someone decided that the Audi truck was more valuable than his life. You feel me? So when I say, for me, when my brother passed away on December the 6th of 2013, my grandmother passed away in, was it November the 3rd or 2nd of 2012. I had an aunt pass away on November the 17th of 2013.
So for you, it's just not 2020 about this time of the year. It's just this time of the year, period.
Seasonal. You feel me? Like, it's truly seasonal for me. And what I've kind of realized is I'm not the only person that can attribute to a lot of that personal pain to it. But I will say that 2020 is the highlighter. You feel me? Like it's bright yellow, and then you mark over it, and you visibly and tangibly see the hurt and emotional distress that you are in because I don't. Even now, we are not in CDC compliance. You feel me? Ain't no mask. We're not saying, if we lived in a truly communist or fascist environment, the police would be kicking in the door and locking our black asses up.
That's true.
Because we're not obeying, federal law right now or federal guidelines. So we are going against the grain just by sitting here and telling each other what it is that we feel. And what that means systematically, we're not even in a place where we can see each other physically for the type of help that it is that we need. So before I forget, at the end of this video, we're going to have some links and we're going to have some resources available where you guys can go out and get that help, whether it's professional and you're not comfortable going to a family member or you have identified that you need that professional help. We're going to make that available from a place that you can seek that out. As I was telling Thaddeus earlier, like I'm not a trained psychologist, but I deal in trauma. I work in a trauma-informed school, so I look at trauma and I know when trauma exists and I know how it persists in our communities. And when you think about just 2020 and quarter four of 2020 and all the things that we may be experiencing right now, this is an episode about I can't offer. I don't think you can either. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't offer a lot of solutions to you, but I think the first step that we have to do is
that's correct. I ain't the expert.
We have to don't listen to your boy because I'm struggling myself. You feel me? But what I will say is that the first thing that I had to learn was you have to identify what that is. And you talking about it, and I would call Thaddeus. I called him earlier this week, and man cried on the phone with him for like 10 minutes.
We are not meant to be on this earth alone.
You feel me? Like you have to identify it, and you have to just talk about it. And even if you don't talk about it out loud to someone else. You have to understand what it is that you feel for your own emotional regulation.
I was being funny and literal at the same time, talking about calling this episode, Can We Just Vent? But that's real, man. Like, you have to vent, you have to talk, you have to, get it out. Like, literally, you have to get it out. Just like Jarvis said, we are going to put some links in the description below. So please, look at the links, check them out. If you need somebody to talk to, like I said, we just on here been talking, getting our feelings out there. I do believe that's where it starts. Like I said, you have to identify it. You have to talk about it. But please, if you need somebody professional to talk to, there is nothing wrong with therapy. Therapy is good for you. It's good for your soul. Just like you go to a doctor for your physical, you need somebody for your mental as well too. So please get help. We are going to have some links in the description below. Please click onto them, interact with each other, and please, man, just don't be afraid to vent.
In your vent, please adhere to the CDC guidelines and take care of yourself. Don't be venting to the point where it becomes selfish. Yeah. And you say in there venting your COVID germs over your grandmama.
Yeah. And we my venting, you can pick up the phone. Like he said, he called me. Okay, you can pick up the phone and vent. You don't have to be in front of the person, but no, you can pick up the phone and vent. But please just talk about your feelings, man. Talking about your feelings helps you. It cleanses your soul, gets them out there. We promise our next episode will be more fun. But no,
it won't be this heavy.
Won't be this heavy. See y'all next time. Peace.
Because really what you said ultimately was, what does relinquish mean to you? So like, what does that even mean to you in the first place? And what you want to convey in our show?
So like relinquish, when I hear that and I think about what you guys have created and what it is to me. So a lot of times when we hear the term or we feel the analogy of like somebody being shackled or held down to whatever circumstance that is holding them down, we think about the cuffs actually being an exterior force that's right around your wrist. Sometimes you are holding on to those things, yeah. And then when you relinquish it, let it go, you're free, right? So, yeah. But that is a process within itself.
You creating your own freedom, ultimately.
You creating your own freedom. The freedom is there. You feel me? Like there's always going to be outside forces that influence you to behave as if you were entrapped. That ain't necessarily it. You feel me? So like when I hear relinquish, you go, they can go things that are holding you down from being free. Like, literally Erykah Badu bag lady, like let the bags go so you can fly. So that's what I hear when I hear relinquish.
That's real, bro. I mean, that's ultimately what Relinquish what we try to convey. I mean, ultimately, we're trying to let people know, like, your freedom is really your own. The freedom is there for you to obtain. The freedom is there for you to get it, but you have to let go so you can be free and fly away. Absolutely. I mean, really, just what you said, man.
Absolutely. So even when I think about what it is that we are in the journey of where we're trying to create, and this is a show, and it's so many. Let's not get beside ourselves and say that we're groundbreaking and we're doing something new. It's men talking about issues from a man's perspective. At the end of the day, that's what it is, right? Yeah. But what I want people to know is that what I hope is different, or what we're even. I hope this isn't different, but I hope what is the message, what you get from us is, while what we're saying isn't fact, and it may not be fact.
No, it's not fact.
Yeah, it can be based on facts, but it ain't fact.
We're not getting bullshit.
And it isn't the truth, right? This is our truth. This is what we feel to be true. This is what we think is, what is relevant. This is our moral scope. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, you have to trust your own truth. You have to believe. You have to find what it is that you believe, and you have to live by that code. And hopefully that coincides with everybody else, and you just doing your part to make this world a better place.
See, this is why you were one of the first people to take pictures of. You explained it perfectly. But no, I mean, no, bro. I mean, I definitely do feel you in that. Like, ultimately, what we want people to get from Relinquish is really what you think it is. I mean, honestly, ultimately, it's about being free. Right. So, whatever your idea of being free is, that's what it's gonna be.
So you gotta understand that Relinquish is, as far as what you guys built. Like, you have to go straight to the source for that. But use Relinquish as a term, as a word, as a lifestyle. That ultimately, I'm telling you to use that to set you free.
Right. That's it. That's all we need.